Welcome to Chatsunami. Hello everybody and welcome to the first ever episode of Chowtsunami. My name's Satsunami and joining me to celebrate 60,000 plays at Chatsunami is none other than the food critic himself, Martin MacAlistair. Martin, welcome back.
It's good to be back. Famous food critic that I am, go about reviewing lots of food, never saying anything less than, yeah, it's alright. So I'm very happy to be here to chat food with you.
Yeah, and what better way to celebrate this Chatsunami milestone than, well, rolling out another sub-series. So, as I said there, yeah, we indeed reached 60,000 plays. So today we are going to be focusing on the first ever episode of Chowtsunami, which is going to be a sub-series dedicated to food and travel. So you and I, of course, have talked about travel in the past, and now I'm taking you to the culinary delights of takeaways. It's like, you know how some podcasters have a budget? Yeah, this isn't one of them.
Oh, I thought you were going to say as in your takeaway budget is unlimited just because it's getting done as a tax write-off for this podcast.
My budget extends to like a steak bake and that's it. Even that's bankrupting me. Oh, have you seen the price of them? Anyway, today I thought, you know what, let's kick this sub-series off with something a little bit more light-hearted. We're not going to go into the seedy secrets of the takeaway industry or anything. Today we are going to be focusing on the world of, food reviews, restaurant reviews, all of the reviews that you look at and you think, what did that person just complain about? So before we dive into it and we go into the, pardon the pun, the meat of this episode, what are your experiences? See when, because I know obviously you being a wrestler, you obviously have to watch what you're eating and things, but when you're looking out for a restaurant or just a place to eat in general, what are the kind of things that you look for?
So over the last few years, it's got to be a bit more difficult for me because I've stopped eating meat. So that'll be a big thing now is, can I actually eat there? Weirdly enough, certain locations like Glasgow, for example, is fantastic. Weirdly, Belfast, terrible place for me. Really struggle there. But I like a good atmosphere. Food's secondary. I think I'm quite unfussy. I very rarely go to a restaurant and go, oh, that was terrible. You know what I mean? Like, I think just having food cooked for me is a good start. Yeah, I'm not a fussy eater. I like a good atmosphere. I'm not big on crazy gimmicks. That's not a thing that really appeals to me. Like, I don't want to have dinner with Mickey Mouse. I'm saying that as in someone who just came back from Japan that went to the Pokemon Cafe.
Pikachu just standing above you, heavy breathing.
Pretty much. I mean, it was a great experience. But I think it's a bit different when it's a casual dinner on holiday. Yeah. I don't like loud music. Pure boomer one ear, but I like to chat in my restaurants. Yeah, I think that's my big thing. It's good atmosphere. And I like to try different food types. My hairdresser, this is a weird segue to get started already. My hairdresser, he is doing a thing that him and his mate have been going out together for having dinner once every week, once every 2 weeks for the last year. And what they're trying to do is hit every single country in the world. I think that's impossible because I don't think every country in the world will be represented in Glasgow. But yeah, that's what they're trying to do. So to throw the question back at you, what are you kind of looking for?
Yeah, I have to say, the older I get, the more I relate to that, because I remember my partner and we were looking for a place to go, very casual, nothing too bad, before the cinema, and there was this particular restaurant. Again, during this episode, I just want to point out that I'm probably going to avoid as much as possible mentioning specific restaurants and things, because I want someone to sponsor me one day, please. A cheeky sausage roll under the table, yeah.
That's Greg's, by the way. Greg, if you're listening.
Greg's, I love you, please. God, great start to the episode. But there was a particular Italian restaurant that my partner and I went to, and not only was it overly expensive, it had such booming music, and we genuinely could not hear one another because it was family oriented, and I can get that. I can get wanting a lively atmosphere. Even some of the buffet places I've been to recently, and this is something that I genuinely didn't know until my partner pointed it out, but turns out in buffet places they play really fast music. Yeah, it's like a psychology thing. And I remember going to people being like, did you know this? And everyone was like, yeah.
Duh. Did you not watch Brainiac?
Yeah, exactly. Are you stupid? I'm like, I genuinely didn't know that. Yeah, I'm just grooving out to my 5th plate of whatever. Like, you do realise you've eaten that in 20 seconds. I'm like, what the hell? Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. The music is just, it's so difficult. And the other thing that puts me off, and this is actually one of my nightmares, this is Nightmare Tsunami hours there, but see restaurants that have a happy birthday protocol. So what I mean by that is you can ask the waiters or whatever to come out and sing you happy birthday. That is my personal hell. That is my personal nightmare, which I know the irony of saying that being a podcaster who wants all ears on them, but that is my nightmare.
Have you ever had it done?
No, never. And don't you dare.
Just making a wee note here.
If we go to a restaurant and you're like, oh my, I have to go to the toilet. Oh, clumsy me and my dietary requirements.
I also do have to go to the toilet at a restaurant. We have to be careful how far this goes.
I know. I know, as long as it's not like the Witherspoons where it's like you go outside and you have to, trek to Mordor before you actually get into, this rule that I set saying don't mention any specifically. Witherspoons, we love you, please sponsor us.
We actually don't.
We don't, I know. I have to big them up for the money, don't judge me. I know, what money, but anyway, yeah, the birthday singing as well. I have to say, the one thing that really surprised me, and it's something that we touched on when we talked about our experiences travelling together, was especially in America, and it does happen here, but it happens less frequently when you're in a restaurant and you're trying to eat, and you do get the server coming up maybe once or twice to say, is everything okay? They always do it while you're mid-bite.
That's an incredible skill, that.
Oh, it is, yeah. It's just almost as if they can sense it, and then they say, is everything okay? And you don't have a chance to respond. You're like, why would you do this? But, I don't find that bad. I do find it bad, however, when you're getting harassed by people where they're like, oh, is everything okay? And it's like, well, you asked me that 5 minutes ago about 50 times since I've been here. So yeah, that kind of puts me off. In terms of takeaway places as well, I have to say, I think it depends on, it sounds like a weird thing to say, but the atmosphere as well, in terms of if I'm going to a place like that, whether it's for fish and chips or something, or pizza, I just want to go in, get my food, come out and everything. I remember I once went into a fish and chip place and there was like this blood-curdling scream outside, and I was like, yeah, I'm never coming here again. Yeah, this is enough for me. So I ran back to my car. Of course, the fish and chips was still warm by the end, but that's another story.
One thing with takeaway, especially like fish and chips, for me, depending on what mood you're in, depends on what you want. So sometimes, especially takeaway, you don't want good food.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you see the box, if you can feel it soaking through the box, sometimes that's what you want. Saying that out loud, I feel gross about it, but some days I'm just like, no, this is what I need.
See, this is what always confuses me, and this is something, of course, we're going to get into in the main episodes, but it absolutely baffles me. See, when I read reviews and they're like, oh, the chips were greasy and so was the food, and I'm looking at this place and 90% of the menu is just grease in a box. And I just think, what were you expecting of this? I once went to a takeaway place, and have I told you about the mystery cake?
No.
So there was this takeaway very near to me, as in near location-wise, not near and dear.
I think near and dear, no, mystery cake, I'm sold on this.
So I was scrolling through, it must have been Just Eat, or one of these apps anyway. I was scrolling through and, I got my usual, and then at the bottom it said desserts, and I was like, all right, I wonder what they're going to have. So there was just the usual stuff. But then there was one thing that just said cake, and it did not specify what this was. It just said cake. There was no I logo beside it. There was no information. It just said cake. So I was like, right, okay, I'm going to order this. First time I ordered it, it was unavailable.
Even more of a mystery.
Couple of months later, ordered it again. It didn't appear in the box. So I was like, right, I have to know what this cake is. So when it came around again a few months after that, I was like, right, I gotta order this cake. I don't care if I'm wasting money. I just need to know. Do you want to know what it was, or should I keep it?
I'd love to know.
It was just chocolate cake. It's such an anticlimactic thing, but it's like, why don't you put chocolate cake or...
No, that's so good.
Genuinely, it was the most enigmifying, if that's even the word,
You know what? Who's the real dummy though? Because you're like, oh, they should have put it on the menu, but you wouldn't have bought it if it said chocolate cake. The fact that you bought it multiple times to find out what it was, I think they're geniuses.
Do you think we should just start a podcast called Cake and just not tell anyone? Yeah, it's just baffling. But going back to what you were saying there, yeah, I do think that you have to have at least a baseline of expectations. I have to say, though, there was one takeaway that I went to and I was expecting them to make, you know, when you go in and you buy a pizza, but they make the dough and everything, and you can tell they made the dough because it's all ski whiff and everything. That's perfect. But there was one I went to and they were oddly perfect with all the holes in them. And I didn't realise until much later that they were all bought in. And that kind of thing puts me off when I see that there's not as much. Again, I know it's a takeaway, but people can still make really good food, you know, foods with love and things like that. Whereas this place, it was just like, yeah, slop tomato sauce and a bit of unmelted cheese on top. It was not nice. It was not nice at all. But speaking of unnice, will we dive into the world of food reviews? And this is going to be a crazy topic. So without any further ado, we're going to load up the takeaway app and we're going to have a look. So until then, enjoy these messages. Welcome to Chatsunami, a variety podcast that discusses topics from gaming and films to anime and general interests.
Previously on Chatsunami, we've analysed what makes a good horror game, conducted a retrospective on Pierce Brosnan's run as James Bond, and listened to us take deep dives into both the Sonic and Halo franchises.
Also, if you're an anime fan, then don't forget to check us out on our sub-series, Chatsunami, where we dive into the world of anime. So far, we've reviewed things like Death Note, Princess Mononoke, and the hit Beyblade series.
If that sounds like your cup of tea, then you can check us out on Spotify, iTunes, and all good podcast apps.
As always, stay safe,
stay awesome, and most importantly,
stay hydrated.
Fancy taking a humorous trip down a random topic each week? You do? Well, you're in luck. Casting Views, presented by me, Dan, and a host of guests, bring you just that. With topics from the world of entertainment, science, sport, and everyday life, there's bound to be a topic that's going to inform and amuse. Catch Casting Views every Sunday on all listening platforms now.
Hi, I'm Slade from the Game Club Podcast, and you're listening to Chatsunami, a member of the Podpack Collective.
And we are back. So, Martin, will we kick things off with the first review that we came across?
Go for it. Oh, actually, can I ask a question before we start?
Do tell, yeah.
Do you ever leave food reviews?
Do I? No, because I'm one of those people that gets the wrong order, but is too shy to say anything about it. I really should work on that, and that is something I'm working on, but there have been times where, well, more than I care to admit, where it's just landed on my plate, and I'm like, I didn't order this, but neither are they taking it away. So yeah, I've had a couple where I've even ordered to my house and everything, and it's like I ordered it with coffee, and then they came, they gave me my order, and then I'm standing waiting for the coffee, and then they go, all right, see you later, and they walk away, and I've just got the tear rolling down my face going, but my coffee. Actually, in a very similar vein, the same place that I'd ordered from actually came into my house. Have I told you this?
No.
So I'd ordered something for lunch, and yeah, I just heard the door opening and someone going, hello? I was working from home at the time, and I turned around and I was like, hello? I don't think they realised that by opening my door, they were opening it into the actual house. I didn't know if they thought there was a buffer zone or something. I was like, I should really lock the door more. But he gave me my food, so it was fine. 5 stars. So to answer your question, no, not really. But what about you?
No, I actually don't either. And I will sometimes, if something's really impressive, sometimes I'll leave 5 stars. Most times, I feel like leaving a 1-star review is just, I'm not interested. If something's really bad, I'll just ignore it and never go back. You know, like, this is probably a bad attitude to have, because then podcasts can't make fun of my reviews, but yeah, just very sad.
No, I know what you mean. I feel as if it's really bad, like the place I was saying before the ad break there, that I would never go back to it. You know, I wouldn't even give them my money. I mean, I've had places that have given me either food that's too salty, undercooked, and even though it's cheap, I'll just never go there again. But some people really take their food seriously, and honestly, God bless them, because we wouldn't have this episode. But without any further ado, are you ready?
I am ready.
So the first one comes from a bakery, and the tagline, or rather the subject line, was asked what jam was in the jam donut. Now, granted, this is a very important thing, if you're looking for dietary restrictions, but this 1-star review left me cackling, and I don't know why. So, this is what they said. They said, asked what jam was in a jam donut. Young lad just replied, I don't know, just jam, with 3 exclamation marks, my ad. Suppose I can look it up. No care in the world. This was 5 p.m, 1st of June, blah 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 place. It should say on the food sign what it contains. Most products did. Just the attitude of the member of staff. Now, see, asking what's in something, I totally sympathise. That is a very important thing to have up. But it's just the thought of asking someone, they're like, oh, just jam.
Just jam, don't get it.
Do you want the donut? Or should I take it? You're like, what? I was going to say, throwing it back to you unless you have any thoughts.
No, I have absolutely no thoughts on this. I've got this one's just a bit wacky. It's just quite funny, and it's not so much the review itself, but I just want to read. This is on a Just Eat page. 30th of April, review from Graham, 2 stars. 31st of April, review from Graham, 2 stars. 1st of May, review from Graham, 1 star. He's not leaving any comments. But the way that Just Eat works is you have to have ordered to leave a review. So this man's ordered 3 days in a row. 2 stars, 2 stars, 1 star. The restaurant itself finally replied on day 3. Mate, you didn't like your food, but are still ordering. What are you doing? I just think it's so good because, like I said, Just Eat does actually verify that you can't leave a review without having done it. I just love that so much. It's a hi mate, what are you doing?
So the next one, and I think it was one you sent me, it was a woman who said, I saw a rat whilst eating here, and I've got no idea what the place is, but it's got a response from the owner that says, that's called a mirror.
The thing of takeaways replying and being mean will never not be funny. I know it's a horrible thing to say, and I do feel for these people that leave into reviews, but there's always a bit of comedy getting slammed by a restaurant. A similar one, there's one in Glasgow, and I won't name it, but it's very, very famous. Actually, probably the same people. It's very, very famous for leaving slanderous comments.
Is this the kebab place by any chance? Yeah.
Some would say it's the best kebab place in Glasgow. 1-star reviews on TripAdvisor. Cannot believe this place is not shut down. I brought my son home at Donna for his dinner, and soon after he was viciously sick.
I've got this exact one.
It was so bad he was viciously sick. Absolutely disgraceful. My son could have died. The response from the owner. Tell your son I'm really sorry. Sorry that he won't be getting any more kebabs. He's bad. It's horrible.
This made national news, by the way. I honestly wish I could say, oh, I'm just kidding, haha, but no, this genuinely made the newspapers. The outrage was so real.
That's so good.
In a similar vein, I was looking at a couple of, again, Just Eat ones. I've got one that I actually can't remember, and I'm going to lump these two together, but I genuinely can't remember where this review was for, but it's just from a woman that says, chips weren't cooked, 1 star.
I like that.
Just that's it. Brevity is the soul of wit. William Shakespeare and the takeout game there. Chips weren't cooked. Just that's it. There's no reply. Can you imagine being a restaurant owner and just seeing that and being like, how do I reply to that?
That's what bothers me a lot with these reviews. Like, a lot of time it's just nonsense reviews. Obviously, you get a lot of legit stuff, but you get people that are just obviously just leaving whatever they feel like saying. Just on that same note, I've got one here.
Yeah.
And you know how Just Eat does groceries? Now you can get grocery shopping. So on a grocery one from Gavin, I specifically said on the notes, no tomatoes in the veg. And there's more tomatoes than gyros. The response, that's not even our order. We don't do that product. Can you please check where you order from? This is like grocery store getting like just random 1-star reviews like from other people. What did you think you ordered from?
I mean, that would be so annoying if you were ordering from there and you're like 2 out of 10. Your Ginster's pies were undercooked. Actually, speaking of that, speaking of unfulfilled orders, I've got a couple here, and it's some that... In fact, sorry, no, before I go on, I've got one from someone who is a guy who's just said the word terrible, but he's not even put 1 star. He's put 1.5 stars, which either means it's a misclick or he's one of those people that goes online and says that something's a 7 out of 10 and it's just okay.
Yeah, the IGN scoring.
Exactly. This one's my favourite. This is kind of lumped in together for 2 of them. First one being in all caps and very misspelled. So the guy says, never received the delivery. It went to the wrong house. Someone enjoyed my food. which I found hilarious. But then the next one is another guy, 1 star again. Missing items that were for my younger kids. Sausage rolls. Now they're crying after eating 1 hour and a half, and they changed it to a curry bake, which they won't eat.
That's so sad.
Papa, will we get our luncheon? I don't know. Eat your curry bake, but I'm allergic. Eat your curry bake.
We got it now.
It's bad enough when your order goes absolutely missing. But have you ever had that before where they're like, oh, sorry, we don't have X, here's why?
No.
No.
Never. This is one of these things that, you know, that whole thing about what you're going to do, stab me, says man who'd just been stabbed. But I've never had any bad experiences with like things going missing. I've obviously had food that goes a bit late, you know, that stuff.
Yeah.
But never anything that's hours and hours late or food wrong and stuff like that. And I don't know if maybe is it because I order simple dishes or is it, you know what I mean? Do these people order complicated things? I've always wondered. I feel like it's never me for these things.
Yeah, no, I'm the same, I have to say. I mean, other than the cake, obviously, but we've been very in-depth about that.
My next one is kind of like my finale. It's my favourite review of all time, or anything, food or otherwise. It's from a pub. This is quite a famous one, but so there's 3 reviews on this pub, so 5 stars, and the other review, so it's in the middle of 2 reviews. So bottom review, 5 stars, top review, 4 stars, good food, nice and clean, friendly staff. The middle review, however, 3 stars. For a pub an old friend was murdered in, he was hacked to death in front of his wife and people. Not for me, really. R.I.P. Steve. 3 stars.
Jesus Christ.
Like, what does he have to do to leave a 1-star review? Because he was like, someone died in this pub, 3 stars. What's the criteria here? Like, what are you ranking?
To quote an earlier review, chips weren't cooked.
I just love it because he was like, I have to leave a review, but I have to be honest about why I'm giving it 3 stars. You know, he couldn't just not leave that review. He's like, no, I have to leave a 3-star review about someone being murdered in a pub.
My God.
Yeah. So you know how I was asking earlier, like, do you ever leave reviews? I just don't understand the thought process of someone being like, I have to leave this review. I have to tell them. I'd give it 3 stars as well.
Yeah, I genuinely don't understand some people's thinking, especially for the last couple that I've got here, and I'm just going to quick fire through them. Because some of them are absolutely excellent. Again, I've got another one saying, in capital letters, which I always find hilarious.
Yeah, capitals are a good sign.
It's a case of Schadenfreude, isn't it? Where it's just like taking happiness out the misery of others here, but it's just, I still haven't got my food, and I ordered at 11:30, and it is now nearly 2:30.
Aww.
Yeah, I would be
You're
angry.
not getting your food.
No, it is gone. It's eaten in the car. I'm sorry. Sorry you had to find out this way. We've got another one from, I want to say this is an American one, where the person says, the food was terrible. I ordered a chicken dish and got small pieces of battered dry chicken mixed in with battered prawns. Totally ruined this dish. Good job, I'm not allergic to prawns. I won't be ordering it from them again. You know, very standard, 2 and a bit stars. That's fine in its own. But then, of course, the owner replies and says, hi, so-and-so, will you please open your eyes and read the descriptions? You ordered the special sweet and sour, which contains king prawns. You got what you ordered, so how is this our fault? The food was fresh and perfectly cooked. We are good, but mind reading the stupid is not one of our skills.
That's so mean.
It's so mean, but it's so funny. There is another one that I'm not going to read the full review because it gets quite personal, but long story short, it sounds as if the writer of this left a 1 star and said that one of the workers there was having relations with their husband, got very angry.
I've read this one out. This is fantastic.
Do you mind if I read it out?
Go for it. This is worth a read.
This person says, the girl who answers the phones of this takeaway, so-and-so, likes to sleep with married men behind her wife's back. This is a takeaway review, by the way. Do not order from here if you want your husbands to sleep with other women. She's 19. My husband, I should be laughing. My husband is 45. Says a lot, doesn't it? She can't find men her own age, so she has to find older men who are married. Food is awful as well. Finally.
I love that little cherry on top.
We're getting to the crux here. Food is awful as well. Never liked the foods. Coming here for years, but won't be coming here again. Will be going to Panda Hut from now on. This girl needs to be sacked. No professionalism and flirts with men on the phones all day. Would give 0 stars if I could. The response. Oh, yeah. If you thought the last one was perfect, oh my God. So the guy could I said, apologies for the issue. Please come to our store and claim a free apple crumble. It all gets better. Apologies again. Kindly show this message to the staff. Can you imagine? My husband's being unfaithful. A free apple crumble. Oh, would you even begin with it? Would you? Who would go back with their apple crumble? It's not even that funny.
No, it is.
I don't know what's worse. Obviously, the emotional outpour, or the fact that someone in the management said, I give her a free apple crumble. That'll placate the situation. Oh my God. When I was reading that, I thought, there is no way that's surely not. And just to wrap up, we have a couple that some of our amazing listeners had submitted. The podcast, The What Else Show, had sent in a good couple of restaurants, I have to say. All of them are pretty standard in terms of the reviews. There was one place that I was really surprised at. It was a place that it's supposed to be like a no-nonsense French restaurant where you're not allowed to ask for substitutions or anything. You're just to have it as is. I was reading through the reviews and some people are very much like, oh, it was great, no nonsense, oh, you have to dress smart, blah, blah, blah. I mean, this person's just said, 1 star, worst experience I've ever had. Tables are covered in plastic like an old person's couch. Service is bossy, rude and pompous. Food was decent, just not worth the hassle that comes with dining with a man that has no business being in the service industry. I think he's selling. I hope that someone who enjoys cooking can take over. Such a shame to see so much ego unchecked. There was another place for a chicken restaurant that said they had such high hopes for a place, but they waited over an hour for 2 chicken sandwiches.
Oh.
And they weren't even special. Their words, not mine. Just the basic ones they offer. Shouldn't take that long for 2 sandwiches. There was another one from our good friends at Seismic Cinema from the Podpack Collective. It was a family who were complaining about patrons who were on a night out for the work, but they were being very rowdy. Have you actually ever experienced that before? Where you've gone to a restaurant and the table across from you are being very unruly?
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of not the restaurant's fault, isn't it?
Yeah, no, exactly. They've basically put the blame on the restaurant saying, oh, they'd rather take their money than ours and blah, blah, blah. And you're like, well, they're drunk. They're wanting to throw money at you. I can see where the priorities lie. As bad as it is. The penultimate one is from the Krusty Boys podcast, who says, all right, here's what I've heard from the place I work at. Best Caesar salad I have ever had. And I've even eaten Caesar salad in New York.
I like that. The humble brag.
Does New York sell a really good Caesar salad?
I have no idea. I didn't know it was famous for it. It's probably its least famous food.
And the other ones were from the same person. These are the best nachos I've ever had, and I'm from Florida. The next one, yo mum, these fries are banging. And last but certainly not least, they don't even have Chinese food, in parentheses. We are a pizza place. Which absolutely baffled.
That's so good.
But the final one that I have to leave us off on, because I found this on Reddit, I cannot stop laughing. Honestly, if this is fake, it is one of the best pieces of prose that I've read this year. So this is someone reviewing a restaurant. They've given it 2 stars. Again, much like yourself, I don't know what they would have to say to be 1 star. But they've said, been here a few times. And each time, it's felt like I'm in the middle seat of a 3-hour flight between a couple who's on the verge of a divorce, but neither one wants to bring it up. Or at the in-laws for the holidays, and grandma is still somehow alive, so you've got to go to church at 7 a.m. Or you're stuck in the line at the self-checkout watching a woman old enough to have dated Abraham Lincoln try and get a coupon to scan. Or your neighbour's got a new dog. Oh, it gets better. Or your neighbour's got a new dog and is trying to show you it knows tricks that it's been 15 minutes. And all the dog has done is bark. Every second I have spent here, I've been dreaming of being somewhere else. 2 stars, because it keeps the people who live the lives I mentioned above corralled in one location. That is one of the greatest slam down reviews I think I've ever read in my life.
That's so good.
I mean, next to the apple pie affair.
That's incredible. I've actually got a cheery one.
Ooh, do tell.
It's a 1-star review, but I just want to share this one because I thought it was quite cute. 1-star review. Took a first date here because I really wanted it to be the last date. Unfortunately, the food came out delicious and very fresh tasting. They were not rude to my date at all, which pissed me off because I was really banking on that. That was it. I just wanted to share that one.
I have to say, it reminds me of when you were telling me about the time you went to America to one of those, was it like a rude restaurant? That was the gimmick, yeah. The thing is, I'm always confused when I see negative reviews for those places, and it is like the staff were rude and everything.
Yeah.
Like,
What did you want?
did you not expect this? I mean, to be honest, if you get that here, it's like a rite of passage. Them saying, I'm sorry, but no, I'm not dealing with this. Go away. So, what are your final thoughts on that?
That was a whirlwind ride of bizarre things. I'm glad we did it.
Me too. So, if you out there listening at home have any funny, weird, bizarre food reviews that you've seen in the wild, please feel free to reach out to us and let us know, because we would love to read them, laugh along with them. So long as it doesn't dox you or anything, please feel free to. Keep an eye out for those reviews. Not even in terms of entertainment value, just for your own safety, for your own culinary sanity. But before we wrap up, Martin, where can these lovely food reviewers, listeners, find your content?
All the way over on Instagram is probably the best place to find me. I don't share much of what I eat, but you never know. Maybe you'll get to see protein bars up close.
2 stars.
2 stars.
2 stars, there was only one of them. And if you want to catch more content from ourselves as well as the rest of the Chatsunami team, you can of course check us out on our website, chatsunami.com, as well as all good podcast providers. I also want to thank our Pandalorian patrons, Robotic Battle Toaster and Sonia. Thank you so much for supporting the show as always. And if you would like exclusive content, behind the scenes, even early access, then you too can join us over at patreon.com/Chatsunami. I also want to point out that this podcast is part of the Podpack Collective. If you want further information, then check us out on Twitter/X at our handle, Podpack Collect. But until next time, stay safe, stay awesome, stay hydrated, and most importantly, please leave us 5 stars, I'm begging you.
Please don't leave us mean reviews.